that was. When you think about the system of criticism, particularly in recent years, when you think about the founding of the United States of America and the context of that founding, where we really didn't have self-governing constitutional republics, not at that time for the most part, our founders were very wise, and they wisely distrusted a national government or a unitary government. You don't typically hear people refer to the government in Washington as a national government, because that's not what we have in the United States of America. We have a federal government. And why do we call it a federal government? Because the states in the United States of America have a significant, historic, and unique value. We don't live in a country with provinces or administrative districts where there are bureaucrats that run those areas for a faraway central national government. We have states that have a measure of their own sovereignty, and the founders recognized how vitally important that was. When you think about the system of checks and balances that were given to us through the Constitution of the United States senators were not popularly elected. They were really ambassadors for the states. They were really there to represent the interest of the states. And of course, in the progressive era, in the early 1900s, a lot of those safeguards that were designed to prevent a creeping, overarching central government that exceeded the power that the founders would have envisioned were swept away. We got direct elections of U.S. senators. We got a graduated income tax. It's kind of nice to see, I think, tariffs come back into the discussion, because that's how we funded this country up until about 1913. But the Electoral College, thankfully, perseveres, even to this day, almost 250 years later. And why is the Electoral College important? Because the founders understood, even at that time, they didn't want the most populous states in the nation to pick the president. They wanted the great width and breadth of this country to pick the chief executive. And so that's why every state is able to participate in the Electoral College. And we don't just simply say, we don't have one national election for President of the United States. We have elections in every state in this country and the District of Columbia. And it means that if you want to hold that office, you've got to go where those people are. You've got to go to Georgia and Nevada and Rhode Island and Hawaii. It makes sure that the leader of this country truly represents the entire country, not just big cities, not just small towns, but the great width and breadth of America. And that is the genius of the Electoral College. And of course, in this election, the popular vote winner was also the Electoral College winner, and that's a great thing. But at the end of the day, having the Electoral College matters because it ensures that the country, which I think we would all agree, we'd love to see less polarization in our country. And if you take the Electoral College away, you are kicking out one more safeguard, one more guardrail that makes us even more polarized than we have been. And we don't want a president of American big cities. We want a president of the United States of America. And I'll just say a word on the folks that we're getting ready to vote for today. We have witnessed, we talked about today being historic, and it is historic every 4 years because it's a reaffirmation of the promise of America. We have this election, we gather in a room like this, and how great is it that as we are gathering here today, it's not like it was 8 years ago in 2016 where many of our electors were subjected to very unpleasant campaigns, threats. Today, it's running like clockwork, right? It's running like it should. And that is a beautiful thing. But the people that have been elected, when you think about this president, this once and future president of the United States, and what he went through over the last 4 years, it's hard, even having been there for a lot of this, to imagine how much has happened just in the last 12 months. Imagine a president of the United States, a former president of the United States, having his home raided by law enforcement officers, having partisan prosecutors that put their loyalty to their political party over their loyalty to their oath of office. All the indictments, all the unbelievable perversion of our criminal justice system. Not one, but 2 attempts on President Trump's life. You think about all of the things, and as he has said, he didn't need this. He didn't have to have it. He was not someone who spent his life climbing the slippery pole of political office from office to office. He is someone that saw a country profoundly broken, that needed a resurgence, that needed to be made great again. And even after all the indignities, everything that he suffered over the last 4 years, we just witnessed, and really today, if you think about it, is one of the final chapters in the greatest political comeback in the history of the United States of America, which is one more reason today is such a historic occasion. But I would be remiss if I didn't say a word or two about our future vice president as well. When you think about the promise of America and what it means to many of us, I think what that promise really boils down to is wherever you come from and whatever circumstances you find yourself in, this country is a place where you can achieve anything. And if Senator J.D. Vance's life story does not embody the American promise, I really don't know what would. Someone who grew up in modest circumstances, someone who had a troubled home life, who said, I'm going to reach higher, I'm going to do better. And by just the sweat of his brow, has gone from those very humble beginnings to being a heartbeat away from the presidency. What a country, what a day to be an American. So I just wanted to share those thoughts with you today. And so now we are going to get into the process of casting our votes for President of the United States and Vice President of the United States. And so what we will do firstly is I'm going to call the roll to confirm your vote, first for President, then for Vice President, and then I believe Karen Henschel will distribute the ballots for everyone to complete. So we're going to do 2 separate roll calls, and if anybody has a question, just raise your hand and I'll make sure that we clear up any confusion. What we're going to start with is a roll call. I'm going to call your name, and if your vote for president is Donald J. Trump, simply say aye or yes. And then we will do a second roll call for Vice President of the United States. Same process. If you are casting your vote for Senator J.D. Vance for Vice President, you will simply say aye or yes. Any questions about that? Okay, so we're going to start with the roll call for voting for President of the United States, and I'll begin with myself, Josh McCoon. I vote aye for Donald J. Trump. Jason Thompson. Aye. Carl Blackburn. Denise Burns. Aye. Hai Cow. Aye. Jenny Ekman. Aye. Jamie Inslee. Aye. Sally Grubbs. Aye. Caroline Jeffords. Aye. Betsy Kramer. Aye. Lori McLean. Aye. Wendell McNeil. Aye. Rufus Montgomery. Aye. Steve Schultz. Aye. Paul Voorhees, Susie Voiles. It is unanimous, 16 votes for the next President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. And now I will call the roll one more time. This is for your vote for Vice President of the United States. If you are voting for Senator J.D. Vance, simply say aye or yes. And I will again begin with myself. Aye for Senator J.D. Vance. Jason Thompson. Aye. Carl Blackburn. Aye. Denise Burns. Aye. Hai Cow. Aye. Jenny Ekman. Aye. Jamie Inslee. Aye. Sally Grubbs. Aye. Caroline Jeffords. Aye. Betsy Kramer. Aye. Lori McLean. Aye. Wendell McNeil. Aye. Rufus Montgomery. Aye. Steve Schultz. Aye. Paul Voorhees. Aye. Susie Voiles. Aye. Once again, it's unanimous, 16 votes for Senator J.D. Vance. So now I'm going to call on Karen and our staff to distribute the ballots. We will stand at ease for a moment while you receive your ballot, mark your ballot, and sign your name. And just like with the roll call, there are two separate ballots for you. So there is one for President and one for Vice President. And you want to make sure that you use blue ink. So if you do not have a pen that writes with blue ink, there should be one at your desk, but if there's not, let Karen know and we'll make sure you get one with blue ink. And then as you complete your ballot, if you'll raise your hand and then Karen can come around to collect them. Looks like everybody has turned their ballots in. Anyone still have their ballot? Okay. Hand-marked paper ballots. I know everybody's very excited about that. So I do want to say a word of thanks. There is one other piece of business we need to conduct, which I'll get to in a minute. But I want to thank our Lieutenant Governor, Burt Jones, the President Pro Tem of the State Senate, John F. Kennedy, the tremendous staff, the Secretary of the Senate and his staff, the Senate Press Office and their staff, for all of their support today. We are extremely grateful to you for allowing us to conduct this meeting in this historic chamber. Thank you so much. Now, I also want to thank the Governor's Office, Governor Brian Kemp and his staff. There are certain additional paperwork, the certificates of ascertainment that have to be prepared by his office, and we appreciate all of their great work in making sure we had all of that ready to go along with the paperwork you've been completing today. So the last paperwork that we've got to do is the certification that we were all here today and that you all voted for Donald Trump and that you voted for Senator J.D. Vance. So what Karen's going to do is she's going to go up to the rostrum behind me, and there are 6 copies of this paperwork, and they all have to be signed by you, each of you. So what I'm going to ask is, and I think what we can do is just one at a time, or maybe we can make a queue. And Karen, are you going to go on up that way? And she'll have them all laid out there for you. We're going to stand at ease because this is part of our official meeting. So once you have signed, if you'll return to your seat, once everyone's signed, then it'll be in order to have a motion to adjourn. And one other announcement I'll make before I go up. We are going to have a group photograph. I know some of you are going to join us for lunch. Some of you may not be able to, but please don't leave before we're able to record this moment for history with all of us together. Thank you. I'll also just take a moment to recognize your guests and friends that are in the gallery. Feel free to wave and say hello. I also want to take a moment as we continue to have everyone sign the certificate to thank our amazing Georgia Republican Party staff, Karen Henschel, Richie Stone, Travis Bowden. They've done an amazing job for us. Thank you very much. I felt that way in this chamber many times.
Was it for been in
It was a year ago today we were meeting with him down in Florida. Can you believe it?
Oh, I love you. Let me tell you, I was at Fort Benning with the general. He treated me well. I don't know if he got clothes.
I bet you they figured
They
it
had a
out.
group meeting and a group picture of him. All the soldiers are so
Yeah, yeah.
They tell me.
Okay, I just have one final word, and then I'll be glad to recognize anyone that would care to make a motion to adjourn. I said this when we were meeting informally upstairs, and I did not want to miss the chance to say it again. You know, our goal was to win this election, the election on November 5th. Felt pretty good about our chances today, but on November 5th, by a margin that could not be contested, that could not be litigated away. And we accomplished that because of the contributions, not just of the people in this room, but especially because of the people in this room. And I just wanted to publicly express my gratitude to each and every one of you for making today possible. Thank you. And with that, we have a motion to adjourn. There's a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All right, any noes? Okay. The ayes have it. We are adjourned. Please do come down to the front so we can take a group photo. We can do one where there's... Oh, you want to do them seated? Okay, we'll do one seated and... Yeah. Okay, all right.